Hi guys, this is John Barrowman. Oh, sorry. Hi guys, this is David Tennant. Oh man, what am I doing? Hi guys, this is Kai Owen and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42. That's right, we've changed our name back to Mark Who 42 because, yes, we did regenerate, but the Doctor regenerates too, and he doesn't change his name, so why should we? I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today is Zion Kuros. Hey, Zion.
Hello. It's great to be back with the old name. The new adventures are finally over, and we're back to the reboot.
And that laugh there is Trish Fryer. Hi, Trish.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to be back with the Out of the Wilderness.
Is
that where we were?
We were in the wilderness years. No. Well, we were in the wilderness years. And we're coming out of our wilderness years with Raine Szramski, who is a Doctor Who fan artist. And we'll be talking to her later on in the show. We had a regeneration crisis, and we added life to WHOniverse and everything. But, you know, that still is our mantra. We are life, the WHOniverse, and everything. We will cover Doctor Who, but this year there's going to be no Doctor Who, so we're going to cover other things as well. We'll try to get interviews, and we'll try to get news stories and discussions about other science fiction products out there, including the CW's Berlantiverse, the Arrowverse. I love that. We'll be talking about that during the year. We'll be talking about Captain Marvel, about Shazam. This
Which
is
one?
weird.
Wait, who?
Shazam.
Captain Marvel?
There is Captain Marvel from Marvel movies, and Shazam is DC, and they're both coming out within like a month of each other. That's weird. That is. They are totally messing with our minds here.
that is something.
Well, mess away, but they both look like they're going to be amazing. So,
Zachary Levi, I loved him in Chuck. His voice in Tangled was pretty good, and I just love him. And I'm going to see Shazam. So this is not one of the movies that I'm gonna wait till it comes out on DVD and get it. Such as I still haven't seen Aquaman.
But, it was all right.
Well, there was a reason. I told myself I wasn't going to see any DC movies because of the Superman Justice League thing, that how dark they were. But I did like Wonder Woman. I did go see Wonder Woman. And so Aquaman, if I get to the theater, Aquaman, from what I've heard, is not as dark as the other ones. It might be as fun as Wonder Woman. So I might go see that. But Shazam is going to be a comedic. Because they're saying it's like Big, but with superheroes. That he keeps the mind of the 10-year-old Billy Batson when he's in the Shazam form. And they've done that before in the comic, but Shazam has also been, because he has all the knowledge of, and I forgot which letter is his intelligence. Do you remember, Zion? Because the Solomon is the S, and anyway, so they're going with the little boy's mind in the big body. So it's kind of like Big. I liked Big, so this should be good.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel is going to be very important for Avengers Endgame. So seeing
already bought my tickets.
Yeah. So
already actually already bought.
You can buy the tickets for that already?
Oh yeah, we have a bunch of friends going. I went to the theater a couple weeks ago whenever they went on sale, and I bought like 25 tickets.
Oh wow!
Yeah. They're all came back, but yeah.
Cool. But Captain Marvel is going to be the big help in the Avengers movie. That's who Samuel Jackson's character, Nick Fury, was putting out a call before he went to Dust. He was calling Captain Marvel. And so the movie Captain Marvel takes place years ago when she first got the powers. And Nick Fury and Agent Coulson are by CGI de-aged to be in it. So yeah, Coulson's back. Not I don't know. Is he gone from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now? That he's left to go to the real Tahiti?
Supposedly, maybe. You never know with these things because it seems like it's going to go one way, and then it seems definite, and then no, we're going to bring him back.
Yeah, because they're saying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to last another couple of seasons, and how do you do it with that Coulson? How do you do it with that Coulson? All right, but we were talking about science fiction and all this kind of stuff. Let's go to news with Trish Fryer. Trish, what kind of news do we got this week?
All right, well, let's start with some Doctor Who news. And I know that this is something you sent me.
Doctor Who news.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Chibnall, he gave some hints about Series 12. Now, they just started filming Series 12. I just saw that they had posted that the other day that they're filming it. Yay. Why we can't have it later this year, I don't know, but I'm pissed. But, yeah. Anyway, they're still saying we have to wait till next year. But Chris Chibnall gave us some hints about what might be in store for us, maybe.
Okay.
Of course, he's proven to be a liar, so
well,
let's see.
Every Doctor Who producer has been a liar.
It's true. I know.
It's true.
I guess it does end up being in our best interest. Yeah. So it was at a special screening of Resolution. He said about the future of Yaz that some of the questions about her may be answered in the forthcoming season. So I guess that means she's going to be here.
Yeah. Well, I think all the companions are coming back. But didn't the actress who plays Yaz say something about that?
Well, she's talking about her job, as a police officer. And she says, if I get my job back, that means I have to leave the TARDIS.
Yeah, so there really can't be an arc.
Yeah.
Unless she gets a job.
Space police.
The Space Force. Space Force. She can be in charge of the Space Force. That would be perfect. We're open for 3 weeks now. The government's open for 3 weeks. We could start Space Force with Yaz. I love that. That's great. No politics. Let me stop that. Okay.
No, yeah. We go down that road, we'll never come back.
No, we will never come back.
Now, despite Chibnall saying that, he wasn't going to do classic monsters, now he's saying, well, maybe we'll do some classic monsters then. I have to think. I don't mind classic monsters, but could we leave out the Cybermen and the Weeping Angels? Can we do some of the other ones? Because there's so many. Why do we keep going back to the same three? The Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Weeping Angels. Why do we have to always do those three?
Our guest today on today's show, Raine Szramski, who's a fan artist of Doctor Who, she actually drew a picture of some Zarbi. And why don't the Zarbi come back? They could do it now with CGI and make them look more convincing than they did back in the Hartnell era. Let's bring back the Zarbi.
Or I want to see the Rutans come back.
The Rutans would be cool. Well, let's get a Sontaran Rutan war. Let's have a battle they're having, and the Doctor's companions can join up and get involved in this battle.
What are the Rutans? I don't remember them.
The Rutans were in Harfang Rock, but the Rutans are the arch enemies of the Sontarans. The Sontarans are not out to control the universe. They're there to defeat the Rutans. And they're the ones they've been fighting for all these years. In fact, in Sontaran experiment, when they're doing the experiments on the humans and stuff, it's because they want to make bases where humans were to help fight the war against the Rutans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only reason they were experimenting on humans. They wanted to know what they had to do to defeat them so that they could use the planets as bases. And it's interesting to note that the Rutans only appeared in an episode without the Sontarans. I mean, it was a good episode. Howard Fang Rock is a great episode.
It's a wonderful episode.
Everybody dies. Spoiler. But it's...
But yeah, Trish, the Rutans look like it's pretty much an electric jellyfish.
That can change shape. But the actual creature is this green blobby thing with electrical but it can change shape like Zygons can, and it can be anybody or anything. So does that answer your question who the Rutans are?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
I was just
good.
being the newbie person. Just speaking for all the newbies out there.
Well, it's funny you talk about the newbie. Zion is on a mission. He has been watching every single old school Doctor Who there is. You just finished Davis and you're going on to Colin Baker now.
Yes, I cannot wait to start Old 60.
Old 60. Okay, let me just tell you, Old 60, the writing, well, what should I say about writing? We know iffy writing from the new series sometimes. But his character is not portrayed as well as Big Finish portrays him.
Right.
You've listened to some of his Big Finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so don't expect that good, but he's a good Doctor. Vengeance on Veros is actually my favorite Colin Baker story, and that's the one that was banned.
The Acid Bath?
The Acid Bath. Even with the Acid Bath, the story, if you know the behind the scenes and everything, that they were going against video nasties, which were they were videotapes of horror movies that were sold everywhere in England, and they were called video nasties, and there was a big thing about how they were hurting the youth and their mindset because there was gore and violence, and so it was a satire saying how bad they were, but Mary Whitehouse and the people who were against Doctor Who saw it as promoting video nasties. So if you go in knowing this is a satire, it works perfectly. So you should like Vengeance of Eris. And of course, Jacqueline Pierce, the late Jacqueline Pierce, who played Servalan on Blake 7, is in the Two Doctors. So you got, which has Patrick Troughton as well. So you're going to have fun with Colin Baker.
All right. Yeah, but as far as I feel about Davison, honestly, I feel like his portrayal of the Doctor is the most true to the character.
Do you really?
Yeah, for some reason, because he has this warmness about him, which is most part of the Doctor, but he still gets what he needs to get done. Okay. And how do I explain it? The best way that I can put it is that he is the perfect mix of both sides of the coin of the Doctor.
Okay.
This also goes back to that special with David Tennant, where he was saying this is where I stopped being so important and started wearing runners and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is. I guess I count this as the part where the Doctor starts going through character development, because all the way up until from Hartnell to Baker, he was more this prominent and important figure, and now he's just out on the field playing cricket and whatnot. So I'm like,
yeah, kind of like Jodie. Kind of like Jodie. Yeah, I see that. And I'm sorry, Trish, that we've taken away your news segment, so we'll go back to you
I'm so sorry.
We'll go back to you now, Trish. Sorry about that.
Oh, do I get to talk again?
Yeah, you get to talk again. I'll shut up for a while.
Can you manage that, really?
I don't know.
I don't know. All right, well, just after all the men took over, we get to talk about another man, if you can call him that. A few months ago, Bill Maher made some nasty comments about, right after Stan Lee passed away, about comic books and people that like comic books and people that like comic book movies, and basically saying that if you like any of this stuff, you're still a child and you need to grow up. Right.
And you're right, I can't shut up. He did not say anything bad about Stan Lee. He did, mourn the death of Stan Lee. But his problem was that he doesn't see how people can say comic books are literature, or adult literature, or literature they're for children, not for adults. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
That's what I was going to say until you took over.
I'm sorry. I thought I feel bad now.
Yep.
I'm turning off my mic. How about that?
So yeah, he was saying that his previous statements were not an attack on Lee. He says, I took the occasion of his death to express my dismay at people who think comic books are literature and superhero movies are great cinema, and who in general are stuck in an everlasting childhood. Bragging that you're all about the Marvel universe is like boasting that your mother still pins your mittens to your sleeve. You can if you want, like the exact same things you liked when you were 10, but if you do, you need to grow up. He then added the proverbial icing on the cake by summing it up to the point of his post. I'm not glad Stan Lee is dead. I'm sad you're alive. That is like one of the rudest comments.
You see, like, I don't even know how to even respond to that one sentence. Like, it's so out there and mean that.
But yet, what about all the sports fans out there? You know, he owns a share of the Mets, yes. and yet the sports fans are, you know, they go crazy. You know, 100%. They buy all this sports crap. They, you know, paint themselves up and go to games. They act like morons, you know, jumping around, cheering their team on. You know, mm-hmm. You can equate them to people that go to cons. Actually, I think they're worse than people that go to Comic-Cons.
100%.
And yet, that's not childish?
No, if you was to ask him that if I was a fan of the Lakers since I was 10, and now I'm still a fan of Lakers now, do I still need to grow up? I guarantee you that he wouldn't be able to answer that. Is a double standard, and he's picking and choosing on what he deems socially acceptable and whatnot. Like, this reminds me of William Shatner's Get a Life thing.
Yes.
But William Shatner said that was a joke. That was Saturday Night Live. That was a total joke. That's not Bill Maher is doing.
He's not joking. He's just being a mean dickhead. Sorry, can I say that?
You can say. I think you're allowed to say that. I don't think we ever have, but I think you're allowed to say that. Yes.
Well, he's lost like over 40,000 followers on his Twitter,
and probably more now.
And he says, "Oh, I didn't know I was going to ruffle so many capes." And he's just like, "Good riddance. Follow Yogi Bear." Well, Yogi Bear's more intelligent than he is, and Yogi Bear is an animated character. So.
I'm smarter than the average bear, boo-boo.
But I just don't understand people that think so highly of themselves, yet they have to tear down whole groups of people. Yeah. You know, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, how pathetic do you have to be and how much do you have to think of yourself to think that people would actually care what you think? Because, I mean, I never cared about Bill Maher. I don't give a crap about him. Never have, never will. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know we're talking about it, so we're giving some kind of attention to it. But if this had been anybody, you know, that had said this, not even just him, I'd feel the same exact way.
You know, he said something. Kevin Smith wrote something to criticize Bill Maher, and Bill Maher on the show put a picture of Kevin Smith on with his hockey jersey and made a rude remark about how people can, you know, this is an example of what people look like who are still into comics. And he, you know, it just, I don't remember the exact quote, but he basically dissed Kevin Smith.
Has he not seen him recently? Because that man lost a whole crap ton.
Oh yeah, but he was showing a picture that would prove his point.
Picking and choosing. You see,
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, Kevin Smith has lost a lot of weight.
Yes, good on him.
And I'm gaining it. All his weight's going on to me. It's not fair. It's not fair. Trish, anything else?
Yeah, no, I was looking up what
you're looking it up?
Kevin Smith said in response to him. He said, "Yes, Bill Maher took a shot at me during his show last night in the midst of this of his latest rant about the real Stan Lee and adults who like comic books. No, I'm not mad at all. Bill may talk tough, but he's a stoner like me and a real pussycat when confronted.
And you know what? That's true. That's actually true. Kevin Smith has pointed out a true thing. Bill Maher couldn't put up if you confronted him about this thing, he probably backtrack or something. I mean, he wouldn't backtrack, but he'd kind of pussyfoot away from it. Yeah.
So basically, he's a wuss. He
just
can
like
talk.
Kevin Smith is. Just like Kevin Smith is. Yeah.
He talks a bunch of smack, but then when confronted about it, he can't back it up. And he has to backtrack.
No. He has an opinion. He will always give his opinion, but he can't defend it physically. I think is the point. He is a stoner. Let's be honest. Bill Maher has been a marijuana advocate for years. The fact that you can now smoke it in California, and that's where his show comes out of, and that's where he lives. You know, he can now do it legally. Yeah.
All right,
say what you say. Say what you mean.
See, like the thing that really bugs me about this is that he says comic books are not literature, but he's never read a comic book. See, like, has anyone here read Ghost World by Daniel Klaus?
No, but I mean, if he read Watchmen, but of course Watchmen's being made into a TV show, so it's who knows. He hasn't read Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Returns. That was adult.
Yeah.
A lot of Brian Michael Bendis mainstream stuff is adult.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man was pretty along the terms of when Norman Osborn came around. It got real dark really quickly.
Oh yeah. And of course, you remember in the 70s the 3-issue drug storyline in Spider-Man where Harry Osborn was addicted to drugs and they had to take care of it. So it's not a children. Comics are not for children completely. You can be an adult and enjoy comics. I'm actually, I work at the library. During my lunch break, I'm reading The Flash, the Mark Waid series. There are 5 volumes. I'm on volume 3 now. I'm enjoying it, and it's the Wally West Flash. So,
all right.
Should I be liking that? But no, I do. Mark Waid is a great writer, and these stories are not kid stories. I'm sorry.
Right.
They're not for kids. I mean, they are for kids, but they're not for kids.
Well, as Neil Gaiman pointed out, that if you tell stories with just words alone, that's books, and that's the realm of adults.
Yeah.
If you have pictures by themselves, that's art, and that's also for adults. But the moment you combine words and pictures, assholes believe that it makes entertainment purely for children.
And yes, you are allowed to say that, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, once or twice, not consistently.
There's a man on Facebook, he made this great post, his name's Peter David, all about this, and he was saying, if you ask someone who's Gomez Adams, he's was created by cartoonist Charles Adams. If you say he's Superman, people will likely respond, he's a superhero, the last son of Krypton, the secret identity of Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. But if you ask who Hercules is, and if you know who King Arthur is, but it's from a book, when those were written, people knew who they were, and just because you know who they were, it's the same thing with comic books and superheroes. Because, King Arthur is basically a superhero. Just because comic books and everything happen in modern time doesn't make them any less, mythical than King Arthur or any of the other.
It's just illustrated.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, Trish.
All right, well, should we move on?
Yes.
All right, let's go to some Star Wars news.
Ooh.
Now, you guys are aware that they're building Star Wars Land in Disneyland and Disney World.
Yes.
The one in Disneyland opens this June. The one in Disney World opens sometime in the fall. They haven't announced a date yet. Well, they're saying that both lands are going to be getting what they consider the world's greatest ride. Now, we already knew about the Millennium Falcon ride, that they were putting in that, then that's supposed to be amazing. But they're actually saying that the sleeper hit ride is actually going to be another ride in the land called Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
Ooh.
And it's actually a family friendly, like dark type ride where you actually ride in a little vehicle, but it's on a trackless system.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Kind of like Universal's Harry Potter.
No, that's on a track, ain't it?
That's on a track?
Technically.
Yeah.
No, it's above track. Okay.
It's going to be the largest indoor attraction the company has ever built. And Bob Iger says it will be an epic Star Wars adventure that puts you in the middle of a climactic battle between the First Order and the Resistance. So there's going to be like the queue area, and part of the queue area will be, that's where the story begins. There's going to be multiple pre-shows, and with the pre-shows and the ride, it's going to take about 28 minutes from start to finish.
Oh, wow.
Guests will enter into a resistance camp where the main queue area will be located. A pre-show of some sort will take place in this area where guests will be broken into large groups. After this resistance-themed pre-show, the groups will then enter the blue and white resistance shuttle transport spaceship to move into space. Similar to Epcot's old hydrolators or Gringotts elevators, the spaceship won't be much of a ride, though unlike either of the examples, here is a straight move out of Willy Wonka. Guests will enter and exit via the same door. The entire room sits on a giant turntable that was slowly moved to allow for this trick. This pre-show on a turntable is what led to some early rumors of guests disembarking from the ride during a portion of it. An early concept called for smaller Omnimover-style escape pods instead of a larger room, but those plans seem to have been updated. When guests exit the shuttle's transport ship, they will be inside a First Order Star Destroyer. After passing through some impressive cargo bay rooms with life-size TIE fighters will sit, guests will enter into the loading area. Here they will board 8-passenger trackless ride vehicles similar to the ones used on SeaWorld's Antarctica ride, though much more advanced. Cast members assisting with the guest boarding will be dressed as part of the First Order and not in traditional ride operator outfits. These First Order fleet transport ride vehicles will navigate the corridors of the Death Star, thanks to an R5 droid animatronic that will sit in the front of every ride vehicle. During the ride, it will pass by an estimated 300 animatronics and through some rooms with ceilings 6 stories tall.
What the heck? What's going on in there?
One scene alone in the attraction will have over 12 dozen Stormtrooper animatronics in it and massive Jumbotron-sized screens simulating open bay doors looking into space. Another will house life-size AT-ATs towering overhead that will move their heads and fire at the ride vehicles. The Rise of the Resistance won't require 3D glasses. Disney is using a plethora of cutting-edge technologies, as witnessed in the seemingly never-ending stream of related patents. An updated Pepper Ghost effect will allow Disney to project three-dimensional scenes on glass, making fight scenes look even more realistic. A video for the new attraction also showed off a new laser effect that Disney has patented that makes only a section of the laser beam visible, better replicating the lasers from the movie. Throughout the ride, guests will come into contact multiple times with Kylo Ren, but it's unclear where exactly in the Star Wars timeline the ride will take place. Toward the end of the estimated 8-minute-long ride, the ride vehicles will move onto platforms similar to the ones used on Tower of Terror that will allow for some greater motion, including a multi-story drop during an intense closing scene where the guests will be crashing back towards the planet they just left. After the fierce battle finale, guests will exit the attraction past a broken, crashed ship before entering back into the land.
Wow.
And they're estimating that they can roughly put between 1,500 and 1,900 guests per hour through that ride, which is not very much.
That's not a lot. Well, I guess you're right. With the amount of people coming to Disney World, it's not a lot.
They're estimating that maybe around 200,000 people are going to try to get there on opening day, which that number doesn't make sense to me because Disneyland has a capacity of limit, I think, of about 80,000 people. So, yeah.
Wow.
But basically, they're saying that the line for this ride is going to take forever. That's not very many people to move through per hour.
That's going to be a nightmare.
I kind of decided I wasn't going to Disney World again, and even though this ride sounds spectacular, I have no wanting of going to Disney for a while. Maybe in a few years, and hopefully Star Wars will still be there, and I'll get to go on it when no one else is going on it. because it's old.
Now, my mother wants to go for her 70th birthday, which is May of 2020, and that'll be about a year after it opens. So I'm hoping that maybe by then it might be a little better, but I highly doubt it, because when they opened Cars Land, the big ride back there was Radiator Spring Racers, and we waited about the same amount of time, about 11 months before we went, and we still waited in line for 2 hours. And even today, it's still one of the busiest rides. We're talking, 6 years later. And with Star Wars being even more popular than Cars,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be insane.
It will be insane. I remember Star Tours. I went to MGM Studios, if that's what's still called anymore.
No, it's got a different name now.
Disney Hollywood Studios.
Disney
Hollywood. Okay, but yeah, I went there once, and that was the only ride that I wanted to go on, and it took 3 hours to go on that ride.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I refuse to wait longer than an hour and a half for a ride anymore. It's just too long. It takes up too much of your day.
I agree.
Fast pass?
I don't know if they'll actually do fast passes for this ride, because that would make the regular line even longer. There's certain rides that they can't do fast passes for because it just overwhelms the regular line. Like in Disneyland, they have the Finding Nemo submarine ride. The submarines have to come to the loading area. They have to unload everybody, then reload, and it takes a long time. They used to have fast passes for it, but it was making the regular line so long that they ended up taking out the fast pass because it was making the regular line a couple hours long. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. And with this one, it sounds like because the show itself is so long, it would be impossible.
I guarantee you that is going to be an entire nightmare.
Well, I just want to go to the cantina and have a drink.
They're going
to actually be serving alcohol.
What, really?
Disney?
At Disneyland.
Wow.
Really?
Yep. But they're also going to have a non-alcoholic, non-dairy blue milk that you can get too.
No way! That sounds great. You see,
I like the butter beer. Maybe I'll like the blue milk. I don't know.
I'm sure it tastes good. I'm sure it does.
It would have to if they're selling. But there'll be real alcohol there for the adults to partake while they're doing their Star Wars thing.
It'll be the first time that Disneyland will be serving alcohol within Disneyland, except for Club 33, but that's a private club.
Do we have any other news?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so let's go to our interview now. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Raine Szramski. Raine Szramski is the fan artist who has done some magnificent Doctor Who work, but she's a lot more than that. Hello, Raine.
Hello. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So you have come from, back in, I guess it would be 2014, 2015, you started doing Doctor Who art.
Yeah. I started doing doing it for fun, because when they had first announced Peter Capaldi, there was a they were going to send him fan art from as an introduction to welcome him as the new Doctor, and I just thought it'd be fun to just include some fan art in there, and that was the first time I've ever done fan art ever. So that's how I started, and then it just went from there.
And we're going to talk more about that, but let's go back to your beginnings. And you grew up in New Jersey?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I take it you had access to WHYY.
Well, it was an PBS, the Philadelphia station.
Yeah, right. WHYY in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And see, you were one of the lucky ones. See, I got to start watching Doctor Who in 1978 when Time Life brought over the first 4 seasons of Tom Baker. And they showed it over and over again with Howard De Silva doing narration. And it was great. I loved it. I became a fan forever. But you were one of the lucky ones because back in 1972, and I know I'm aging both of us.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. back in 1972, and I don't know if that's when you started, but Time Life started bringing over some of the Jon Pertwee episodes, and it didn't sell that well. It only went in a few markets. It went in your market. It went on WHYY. In fact, I remember going to conventions, to mini-cons in 79 and 80, watching Jon Pertwee stories with, like, terrible quality prints from WHYY. But you got to watch it there. And then, what was your first episode?
Terror of the Autons.
Terror of the Autons. That's a good one to start with. Joe Grant.
It was brutal. Yeah, and I started in the middle of those episodes. And my first episode was the one with the killer chair.
Oh yeah,
fun.
That freaked me out. I almost didn't continue watching Doctor Who after that because
I was going to say, I'm like, and you still continued? Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say you also got the little devil doll.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great start.
Yep, and that was almost my last episode of Doctor Who.
What made you keep watching it?
Jon Pertwee. I love
yes.
Jon Pertwee. I thought he was like the coolest. The tall man, fancy clothes, lots of hair. He did some kind of karate.
Venusian Aikido.
Yeah, Venusian Aikido. Yes, I found out later, but yeah, I thought he was like the coolest. I loved his clothes, and yeah, I had a little crush on him.
Aww. Yeah, well,
I can understand why.
Yeah, Jon Pertwee is a great doctor, and even though I'm glad I got to start with the Tom, Jon Pertwee was. I wish I had seen some of those Jon Pertwee episodes back then, and 1972. They would have only had the first 2 seasons, and they didn't show all of them, and they added a few more. I think there were like 12 stories that they showed. I don't remember which ones they were, but yes, Terror of the Autons, great story to begin with, and scary. Scary for a child your age, because you were a kid.
Yeah, I was a kid.
You were a kid.
I was like 9. I was about 9.
9 years old. Yeah, speaking of which, and I was not going to age you. I really wasn't going to age you. But you and Doctor Who have something in common. And I think it has to do with birthdays.
Yes, I was born about the same week that Doctor Who went on the air, the very first episode.
Wow.
Cool. That's neat.
Yeah, it was November 17th. The original episode of Doctor Who should have aired on the 16th, I think. But they
23rd.
had.
Oh no! What it was?
Yeah, the first episode they had to redo it because they weren't. I think that they weren't happy with the portrayal of the Doctor.
Right. They had a pilot. Yeah. They made a pilot and they didn't like it. Yeah, they did
a pilot, and that pilot was supposed to air on the 16th. I was born on the 17th, and they reshot it, and it aired the week later.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then, of course, because of the JFK incident, they showed it again the following week because they didn't get ratings, and they wanted to try it again.
Yeah, that was the other thing that happened when I was born.
Yeah, JFK. That would but. Since you were just born, it didn't really affect you. I mean, did it?
No, my mother was in hospital with me apparently when it happened, so it was, it probably freaked everyone out. Yeah, and every time my birthday comes around, I keep hearing about the anniversary of JFK every year. So.
My birthday's the day before 9/11, so I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, you get the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up in New Jersey was my girlfriend Randy. Randy. In fact, this is our nepotism show, folks. Yep. This is the nepotism show because. My girlfriend Randy and Raine worked at the same Borders.
Yep, the same bookstore in Marlton, New Jersey. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think Randy was manager, and I'm not sure. Were you just what was your position?
I was just a bookseller, just a clerk. Yeah.
Yeah, and you still work? I heard you still work in a bookstore, or
Yep. I work at a used bookstore out here in Phoenix. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps with insurance and things like that. And a steady paycheck.
Well, yeah, a steady paycheck is important. And it's funny, you work at a bookstore, I work at a library.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love working at the library.
Book people, yeah.
Book people are fun.
So, Raine, is John Pertwee your doctor, basically? I mean, is he your favorite, or do you have a new favorite with the new Who? Or?
I have a new favorite, yes.
But
I need to say that I love all the doctors.
Of course.
They're all the same character.
They're all the same character.
Yes.
But the one that is probably most endearing to me, the one that got this all jump-started was the 12th Doctor.
Yes.
He is amazing.
He was amazing. He is amazing. Malcolm Tucker becoming the Doctor was an amazing thing. And in the Robin Hood episode, I swear that when he and Robin Hood and Clara were locked in the dungeon, and Robin Hood and the Doctor were arguing or bickering with each other, I could have sworn an F-bomb was going to be dropped because it was so Malcolm Tucker. The scene was so in the thick of it that
when Peter Capaldi first came out, when they revealed that he was going to be the Doctor, the first thing I said to my brother and my husband was, I hope they have someone write on the beeping button, the bleep button.
Well, he almost invoked Malcolm Tucker when he yelled, "Shut-itty up, up, up."
Yes.
Shut up, shut-itty up, up, up.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was his catchphrase. I on the show I said his new catchphrase: "Shut-itty up, up, up." Every Doctor needs a catchphrase.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of Capaldi, one of your artworks for Capaldi was a variant cover for Titan Comics for I think his third year.
Yes.
How did that come in the being?
Well, I had done some fake covers. There's a blank Titan Doctor Who template online, and I used it. I sort of photoshopped it together with some of my illustrations. I used Tom Baker and John Pertwee as examples, and I put them on Twitter, and someone had mistakenly thought I did covers for Titan, and I said no, I didn't, and I just got, and I said no, these are fake. I was just playing around. I was just, and then I got contacted by Andrew James, who works for Titan, asking if I'd like to do a cover for real, and that was like, oh my God.
I'm looking at my copy of that issue that says to Mark and Randy, and it's signed Peter Capaldi.
Yes, I've seen you that picture you sent.
Yeah, I posted it on Facebook, if I remember.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I also have, and the artwork that you gave me to sell, which sold well, where Peter Capaldi is trying to decide what outfit to wear.
The cartoon.
The cartoon. Yeah, and he's got the celery and the scarf and everything, and he wrote to Mark Who 42, all the best, Peter Capaldi.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, these are I never get autographs, and I spent money on this. I once people started charging for autographs, I made it a personal thing never to get an autograph again. I had to get your artwork autographed, and I really should send it to you so you could autograph it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it would take me about 5 years later to finally get him to autograph him in person. But other people have sent me. My friend Sandra, who lives in Cardiff, got him to autograph the cover too, and she sent that to me, and that was like the biggest, the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
It was on his last day of filming. But yeah.
And if you look at our website, the picture for the title picture for this episode has a picture of Raine and Peter Capaldi on it, and that was just taken, I guess, last year.
In September, yeah.
Yeah, in September. Tell us about that experience.
Oh, I was scared to death. All right.
You're scared to death to be on this show. It's the same thing.
Yeah. It was probably, yeah. Well, what had happened is my friend Donna, who we also worked with Randy at the bookstore.
Yeah.
We were all working.
No, I know Donna because we met up with Donna in Texas, in Dallas, while we were at a convention.
She lives around Austin now.
Yeah.
But she said that Peter was coming to the Austin Comic-Con there, and she says, you have to come this time. And so I put together my pennies, and I got a plane ticket, and she said, and I got a con pass, and anyway, so I was trying to figure out what to get him to sign, and I couldn't make up my mind which picture, because I everyone gets the same one signed, the cover of the comic,
right.
And I thought maybe I can make a collage of a couple of his pictures I've done of him, but then I thought, why not make a book and give him all of them? So I made a little book. I printed out a little book of all my Doctor Who artwork and presented it to him.
Yes, you did. and that book became the 12th of Ever.
Yep. I had showed Chris Stone, who I'd done some charity illustrations for him before in the past, and he had the idea of trying to expand it, make it a bigger book, and sell copies for Mind, which is a UK charity, and that's how that happened.
Yeah, I got one of the last copies. I actually paid for it after it was printed. I got one of the last 3 copies that were available, and this book is amazing. It really
thank you.
is.
Oh, thank you.
You've got pictures of every Doctor. You are prolific. You went for broke here. I mean, this is amazing stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Where'd you come up with the idea for the fob watch with the time, the 1 o'clock being the first Doctor, 2 o'clock being the second Doctor?
When I was posting, I posted the sketches on Facebook before I went and finished them all as finished illustrations, and I kept forgetting to sign them. And people are saying, you better sign your pictures. So I thought I tried to think of a way I could fit. I usually sometimes I put a little banner or something in the corner and put my name and the date. And I thought, why don't I put a watch in the corner and just change the time for each Doctor? And I thought that got a little tricky with the War Doctor and 13, but I had to figure out something like that. Yeah, it was 8:30 for the War Doctor, and for 13, when I do her official picture, I haven't done hers yet. I'm going to start with 12 as the number 1 part of the watch, and then just start working around so I have room for 14, 15, 16 when they come later.
But you have drawn pictures of Jodie, and they're very good.
Sketches, yeah, and I have the one with her and her reveal with coming.
Yeah, and she is holding a fob watch, and it does have the 13. Yeah.
That was the first. I planned to do one with her with her official costume, but I haven't done. I was waiting to see her whole season first before I can pick a background for her.
Yeah. So, we've been talking about Doctor Who, but you do other fan art too. You're an artist. You do artwork. What kind of stuff have you done?
Well, I've done some stuff. I did some for Blake 7 fan art.
Yes. The Paul Darrow picture, I think I saw.
And I was fortunate enough. They had a recent con for in memoriam of Gareth Thomas, and I had some of my artwork autographed there.
Wow.
I sent some over with people who were attending, and it was almost like teleporting it. But,
no, they were taking it right in the TARDIS.
Yeah, in the TARDIS. But I had Paul Darrow got to see it, and I was really excited, and Michael Keating, and so that was cool.
Yeah.
I recently did a Peter Cushing picture for as a gift. I was commissioned to do a Peter Cushing Hammer, one of his Hammer films, as Van Helsing with I put Christopher Lee in the background, but I'd like to do
Nice.
Well, you should definitely do one as a doctor, as Doctor Who. Excuse me.
Yes, that's
Peter
coming
Cushing
up.
as
That'll
Doctor
come
Who.
up.
That's coming up. All right, we'll have to have a sequel to 12th of Ever.
I hope so. I have almost enough art for a sequel, so we'll see.
Now, I have a question. The book is for charity. Was that because of copyright reasons with the BBC?
I think so. I think that's because I obviously couldn't officially sell it unless I was,
Right.
I could get an income. So that was the best option, I think.
Yeah, but because you did the Titan comic, you are a professional Doctor Who artist. You're not a fan artist. You're a professional.
Well, I did. I did. The other professional art was for the Women Who Lived book.
Yes.
That was the only. Yeah, that's the only other official work that I've done so far, and that was I did for that. I did picture of Bill Potts and Mercy Hardigan.
Yeah,
They were the
Potts
rare colored pictures I've done.
Yeah, the Bill Potts Cyberman picture. That's it's very, very evocative. I just it really makes you think. Oh God, Bill died.
Pain.
Spoilers. Yeah.
I was really upset over that. Bill Potts. I love Bill Potts, and I was really upset at that turn.
Yeah. Me too.
After Clara, Bill Potts was, because I will say this on Mark Who 42, we didn't really like Clara, but Bill Potts was the companion for Peter Capaldi.
Yes, I thought she was fantastic. I loved her.
And to kill her off right away.
From her first episode on, she had so much personality and so much story to her, and it was instant. And I was just like, we should have had her earlier.
We should have kept her.
Oh, she's going to be at Gallifrey 1 in a couple weeks that I'm going to. You should send me your art. I'll get her to autograph it.
Well, there you go. You have another in.
Have you done one of Captain Jack?
Not yet. I had actually told my friend Donna for helping me get this Peter Capaldi thing happening. I told her I would do her Captain Jack picture as a reward for that.
Yeah, because he's going to be there, and so is Catherine Tate. Yeah,
Catherine Tate. Eventually. I have a list I'm working my way through all the companions right now.
Yeah.
Has any one of them been difficult to draw?
Some of the companions who there isn't a lot of reference for. Like I recently just did a sketch of Dodo from the first Doctor's era.
Yeah.
And at least a few photos of her to use, and Katarina was.
I'm looking at the Katarina picture right now with the Trojan horse. Oh, that is such a good picture. That is such a great picture.
She was hard to find reference for because her episode, a lot of her episodes don't exist. I think there's maybe one that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, Sarah Kingdom, also very few pictures of.
Well, I just used Jean Marsh. I just used her.
As, you just used Jean Marsh? Okay.
And
of course, Jean Marsh was married to your first Doctor. Yeah, so that works.
Yeah. Cool, and then she later played, 2 more parts.
In Battlefield, And she was in the Crusades.
Yes. In another, First Doctor.
Story. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I could go on and on about this book. You've got.
Wish I'd known about it.
Same here.
Wish I'd known about it. I would have totally bought one.
You're on Facebook. You should have known about it. It was public. It was advertised everywhere.
Like 2017.
Well, Mark, if you knew about it, you could have told us.
I guess I could have.
Exactly.
I guess I could have. Well, Go ahead.
I was going to say you can ask Chris if he wants to reprint it someday.
Well, he might. Yeah. I think he's. Why wouldn't he reprint it? Because it sold so well. He sold out. So why wouldn't he reprint it? It would be a great idea. So we should talk to him and see if he can do it again. Because I bet you'd sell more and make more money for the charity. It's Long Scarf Publications, and I actually have some other books by Long Scarf. I don't remember which ones they were, but they publish a lot of charity Doctor Who books and other genre niches. But Long Scarf, how could that not be Doctor Who?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great name.
Definitely great name, the Tom. So Raine Szramski, we're interviewing here on Mark Who 42. You have all this artwork and you do sell it. Do you go to conventions and sell your work?
No, I never have. I had looked into getting into like a local convention, the Phoenix Con, and it's too expensive to get a table for me at this point in time. And
even an art table, because a lot of cons, an art table is like $75 if you go to.
They're all booked.
Con.
For some reason, you have to. I just have been having trouble getting. I looked into it, and they've all been booked for the year ahead of time, and but it's just difficult to get for a new person to get a table. There, but it may be something that'll happen in the future.
I hope so.
We'll see.
But
I would like to. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I would like to, but just trying to work out the logistics of it.
Yeah, we've done a number of I should say a number of conventions. We've done a boatload of conventions, and I'm burnt out. I've done too many conventions, both as a seller and as a moderator and panelist. It wears you out, Raine. So when you start, just don't do too many at the same time. There was a year we did 25.
Oh,
1 year we did 25 conventions.
Wow.
Ouch. And I'm trying to keep my full-time job. It doesn't work.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah, and I'm trying to do the same thing with me, trying to get all this artwork done around a full-time job.
Yeah.
And a weekend job I have too. I have a part-time job on the weekend.
We thank you for taking the day off to do this.
Oh yeah, no problem. I needed a vacation anyway.
Yeah, there you go. And you get to talk. That's all this is. I know you were a little frightened to do this, but
I have stage fright.
we're just talking as friends, and
Yeah.
and that's all what Mark Who 42 is about. So so you have a Redbubble Doctor Who store.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And the best way to get there is, you could go to our website. We'll have it published on this podcast page, but it's redbubble.com/people/Raines. Sorry, RAINESZ ? So I'd say go to our website and
yes, that's probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. Now you have a Patreon site. What is that for?
Well, that's for Patreon is it's sort of a tip jar for artists. So people donate by month, like as little as maybe $1 a month up and on up, and you get I give updates and special rewards for any of my patrons right now. I send postcards to
cool.
welcome them. I have one particular patron named Earl, who is very generous, and he's the one. He has a whole list of commissions for me because one of my higher pledges, you get a commission from me. So he's been commissioning me for all year. So this is where all these companion pictures are coming from. So he wants me to do all the companions. So it's a very long list. Yeah. So I've got
Yeah.
Who is your favorite companion?
What was that? I'm sorry.
That's a good question.
Who is your favorite companion?
My favorite companion? Oh, gee. I have several favorite companions. I like, obviously, Bill. But I like Jamie. I always liked the Second Doctor's companions. I always thought that they were great TARDIS teams. There's so many to... Katie Manning, I love her.
We love Katie too.
We love Katie.
Sarah Jane, Sarah's Jane Smith. Let's see. Just going through. I love Donna.
Me too. My favorite.
She's absolutely. She's absolutely wonderful. There's so many to name, but the Brigadier. I don't know if he counts as a companion, but I love.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
I consider unit. I consider unit companions.
The whole unit.
The whole unit team.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you were John Pertwee.
Obviously.
So Roger, why don't you do Roger Delgado as the Master? That would be.
I am. I will. That was on my list for a year, but I got distracted. I was planning to do all the Masters, and so far I've only done Missy, but I haven't finished her yet. But I have her on my drawing table right now. In fact.
Yeah, I think the Missy picture is in this book. I think.
Yeah, the sketch for it, but I haven't finished. Yeah, I was started painting it, and I just got a little busy working on other commissions.
Right.
That one was just for me, but.
Now, you've done all the Doctors to date, and I have a question. What made you decide, when you did the War Doctor, to do the John Hurt one and then the younger John Hurt one?
War
Doctor.
Well, there's a really funny story behind that one too, because you saw the younger John Hurt for a minute. Even less than a minute.
About a second on the mirror. Yeah. And
I thought, I wanted to see more of him because I figured he's got this really long history, and I'm sure he was like a real, can I say badass?
Yeah, you can say that. Badass is fine.
Okay. And so I needed something for him to be holding like a trophy of war. So I had the Dalek eye stalk.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just by synchronicity or coincidence, the Seasons of War short film came out, and which also focused on the young War Doctor, and he was using the Dalek eye stalk as a telescope. And so the makers of the film contacted me and said, was this just an accident, or so we just kind of came up with the same idea of him holding the eye stalk, and it sort of became a little iconic for the younger War Doctor.
Yeah, well, it's a great picture. Another thing I wanted to bring up are your ood beams.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Your ood memes. Your oods, your pictures of the oods.
Oods, okay.
Oods. You have a lot of, do a lot of oods.
Yes. The oods, okay, all right. My friend Sandra, who was she was on set a lot when they were out doing location filming. She took a lot of photos, so she was like keeping me up to date on what the show was doing while Peter was still the Doctor, and she kept sending me photographs and stuff like that. But she loves oods. So as jokes, so for these pictures as jokes, I did a couple like ood pictures, so like for her birthday and things like that. And that's where the first the pre-Raphaelite ood came from, with the painting ood, and then there was an Edgar Allan ood, and then the dude's picture with the band, the ood band.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah,
Peter saw that one at the Austin Comic Con. But yeah, because Donna was wearing that on a T-shirt, I think. But yeah, oods are fun.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. So, Raine, what's in your future? What are you gonna do with this artwork? Are you ever gonna contact the BBC and try and maybe license your pictures and actually get them professionally done? Maybe put out a book?
Well, I don't. There's so many, amazing Doctor Who artists out there who should have their own books. And I've been become friends with a lot of them through, sharing my artwork. So I would think that, yeah, there's so many artists out there who deserve their own book. Maybe someday they'll approach me, but I mean, I'll just, in the meantime, keep making, fan art.
Fan art, yeah.
I just signed up for your Patreon as we were talking.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So you have that.
Everyone should too.
Yeah.
Everyone sign up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You also have a Facebook art page, Art of Raine Szramski.
I hope I'll be opening an Etsy shop soon too, with different prints than that's available in Redbubble.
When you have the Etsy page, give it to us so we can add it to our page.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Thank you.
Raine, is there anything else you'd like to tell your fans out there? Because you have fans. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan.
Just thank you for supporting me, and thanks a lot. And there's more coming.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
And I am gonna go to Patreon in a few minutes and sign up too, because it's a good cause.
It helps so much with the art supplies.
Yeah, exactly.
It helps keep me in brushes.
We actually had a Patreon account at one point to help raise money for the show. Didn't work too well. We're going to probably try again.
I'll support you. I will definitely support you.
Okay, thank you. We actually do have perks to give out. We've got TARDIS operator licenses that we've got, and we've got some stickers for the back of your car with Doctor Who stuff. So, I mean, we do have perks, and we didn't offer them last time. I mean, maybe that was the problem.
Usually that is the problem.
That was the problem. We were just saying, hey, pay us money, we'll give you a pin. No, I did say a pin. I did say a logo pin, and it didn't work. But this is good stuff. Okay. So Raine Szramski, we are so happy you came on our show today.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I got the courage to finally do it.
I'm glad you had the courage, because we were going to have you on years ago.
You were bugging me like years ago, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm too scared.
Well, you're a very good interview. So
thank
very
you.
Good interview.
Yes.
Well, it's nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you too.
Nice to meet you.
So we want to thank Raine once again, Raine Szramski, for that lovely interview, and I wish her success in future endeavors. And her artwork is so good. It really is. I really think so.
It is.
It's wonderful.
Do we have any final words from the Peanut Gallery?
Oh, go Disney. Suck it, Maher.
Zion?
Life-size TIE fighters.
Ooh, yeah. Disney.
I can't express any more excitement than that. Life-size TIE fighters.
Well, I'm Mark Baumgartner. Those guys in the Peanut Gallery are Trish Fryer and Zion Kiros. And I just want to end the show by saying that coming up in March, something very interesting is happening, and we'll be letting you guys know. It's really, really, really good news. Probably in an episode or two, and we'll definitely post it up on our website and Facebook so you can read about it. It's great news. I think you guys are going to be really excited about it. I know we are. So
we're going on an odyssey.
So until next time, everyone, so long from Mark Who 42. Life, the Whoniverse, and Everything with Mark Who 42 was written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Trish Fryer, Iggy Matthews, and Zion Kiros. Our special guest today was Raine Szramski, Doctor Who fan artist extraordinaire. The Mark Who 42 podcast you were listening to was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten. Theme music by Sam Beckwith. Life, the Whoniverse, and Everything with Mark Who 42 is in no way affiliated with the BBC, even though we thank them for putting out such a great show as Doctor Who. Life, the Whoniverse, and Everything with Mark Who 42 is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten 2019.